one.
Hi, good night, everyone. Welcome to Community Engagement. I'm your host, Tom Wilson, alongside Reverend Daniel and Ms. Kebe. We are joining you today. I'm from the Island Vybe studio. Mr. Daniel and Kebe, how was your week last week? How was your weekend?
It was good. And with that said, a big shout out to all of you, our wonderful and precious listeners. It's a pleasure to have you here again here tonight, having our community conversation on health issues, something we really want to bring to our hearts as always. So thank you for being there. We appreciate the moment with you, sharing this time with you. So yes, Kevin, how was the weekend?
The weekend was great. I mean, it's a new week. Glad to be here again. Like everyone said, thank you so much for joining us tonight again. And we hope that we can have some really great time here tonight.
Great. To kick off the show, today's night show, I should say, is about fall preparedness and awareness of danger and how we could prepare for that. We talk about prep work every week because we always say prevention is better than cure, and we always say it's better to be be prepared for it than it not happen than it happened and you're not prepared for it. It's always going to be that way. We are heading into what we call festival seasons. Like we're seeing, it's so weird because it's getting into winter, but fall is amazing because we're heading into festival season. Thanksgiving, a lot of immigrants are not used to Thanksgiving, so we're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. There's Christmas, and there, as much as it's festive and it's wonderful, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we still need to be aware of. Like preparing your house for guests, in case there's a disaster. Let's say you have a house full of people, right? People are visiting you and you have a disaster that happens. We talked about flood a couple of weeks ago. We've talked about what to do in case of a natural disaster.
Yeah. So I would say as we move into this fall, and especially I love the way you pull it, come next month, Thanksgiving season, and people will be busy traveling. December, the families will be planning event, but especially the Thanksgiving. What are the things that what can you do in your home to prepare in order to avoid disaster, health hazards, and all of those? That's a very good question, and I think that's something that worth looking into. And I think for people that are looking forward to welcoming families into your home for reunions and memorials, a lot of people get together. I think it's important that you begin to plan now. What are the things that you need to? How many people are you planning to bring into your home? Okay, and you need to organize your very home to see, what are those things that poses maybe risks of having a danger. So you don't want to wait people influx into the house already, and then at that time you are looking for ways to fix things, to park, to organize. No, you want to make sure you do this ahead of time, right? If you're planning, and in fact, it will do you a good service if you are able to organize your home. Like the summer is almost winding completely, it already gone. You are in for, so maybe you want to begin to change. I know we still got some heat around, but you want to begin to think about things, organizing the home to make sure that all those things that you're not using, to put them one side, and making sure how many people can I welcome in my home in this Thanksgiving, and your backyard, all those things. You want to make sure that you can put that together. So I don't know if another panelist will want to share on that, but that's just my beginning thought on that.
Ms. Gabe?
Yeah, so like you just mentioned, it's the festive season. We got I know people who celebrate Halloween and then we got Thanksgiving coming up and then Christmas. So like just things to know, they're gonna be uses of candles, like different kind of candles. You want to make
Ooh,
sure that
that's
you
important.
Yes, you want to make sure that you keep those candles at least 12 inches away from anything that burns because sometimes people get carried away, especially sweet, no matter what kind of candle it is, people do use the long ones, which is more easier to catch fire, or whether it's just the sweet scented candle that people are going to light just to make the place smell nice. So you want to also always make sure that it's 12 inches away from anything that burns easily. So you also want to like make sure you inspect your all those lights for damage and everything using water resistant materials because of the weather now. Like it has already changed. It could rain today. It could be very windy tomorrow. Like, so it's just here and there. You want to make sure that your property is clear of all combustible materials. Like make sure that everything's where it's supposed to be and you don't have the wrong things at the or wrong places. Just make sure that, so that especially when people going on holidays, there are going to be kids running around. There are going to be a lot of maybe friends or families showing up. People are going to be busy. A lot of things might go on. So
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, the candle. So much of us put a candle next to a window which has curtains or blinds. Like we
right,
take that stuff for granted. Like that's important to remember those things. I have a small son. There is no candles anywhere in my house. Like I
right.
know people do it. I'm just afraid of it. So there is those flameless candles that you could burn. You could do scents different ways. I don't do candles. For those of you who does, like Ms. Kembe mentioned, it has to be 12 inches away from almost anything and on a steady surface. Like you don't want it to be on a table that you could bump and shake and the table isn't steady and it could go anywhere. And breathing into that, like I think I've mentioned this before last year. Make sure that your smoke alarms are working. And
Right.
if you cannot afford to get new smoke alarms, you don't know if it's working, you don't know how to check it, the fire department, at least in my county, gives them away for free if you go over there. So you might want to just make a phone call to your fire department because they give away free smoke alarms to make sure that you're safe, especially when you're inviting people into your home this holiday. Like you really want to keep them safe as well as yourself.
Right. And just to add to also fire extinguisher, you want to make sure that your home has fire extinguisher.
Check the
And residents,
expiration dates on your
right.
fire extinguisher.
And also make sure that people in your home know how to use the fire extinguisher because it's one thing to just have it and don't know how to use it. So I know like
I was
most
very
people,
guilty of that. I didn't know to use it for a lot of years.
right,
Like
because that is like
you've seen it on TV, right? You pull the pin and you press. It's not that simple. Like you gotta
no,
make sure you know how to use it. Watch a
right,
YouTube tutorial before you really need to use it.
sure.
Yeah, it's
And
like
checking your heating system in your vents and even fireplaces, even the small heaters, like those small portable heaters, you want to make sure that you check those and make sure they're in the right spot and they are safe.
I have one more thing about the there's different fire extinguishers for different fires. So in your kitchen, you definitely want to keep that fire extinguisher that puts out grease. Like we take that for granted because we think a regular fire extinguisher, but just that might make a difference to whether your whole kitchen burned down versus just the stove area. So you want to make sure you have the right fire extinguisher in your kitchen, especially.
Mm, mm. Yeah, having the right size, the right just getting it up to date is something that will be into that you want to be. It doesn't matter, but at least even if it is two, three, especially if you have a basement to get one there in on your first floor to get one, at least somewhere else, you can.
Definitely don't want to be running the kitchen for a fire that's happening in your living room. Like
Yeah.
you don't
You
want it.
mentioned about
And
smoke detectors, which is something that really people need to make sure that you can really make sure you check that everything is working. And I love
mhm.
it, Kevin Pulley, to state that check the vent, check especially when it was cool earlier last week. I think many of us, majority of us, turned our heater on, right, to see how that works and how that is going. So it's important that you make sure that it's working. And if you need servicing, I think it's important you take advantage of that now, so that way it will not uh take you that long let's say it will not cost you much money when they get broken down. So you want to spend now to do regular checking, then to wait for it to be broken to fix it and spend more
Or
money.
even wait till, all the service people are booked up and you have to wait a couple of days to get yours fixed, right?
That's
Because
right.
during the season, it's people are rushing more and there's a lot more to get done.
The
So
demand becomes so high, and then they keep you on a high waiting list.
and they charge you more.
Yeah, they charge you for even coming out to inspect it because the demand is high. Demand for technician is high. But if you take your time now and say, look, I don't see any emergency that much, but I just want you to come and check it out. It's good. And then who knows when they come out, what you never tell, maybe something was almost at the edge of being broken and they find out. So it's important to check those and tighten the buttons.
Right. And listen, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain to do it, right? So, but doing it could save your life. And we are not experts. We always say that we're not experts in any of these fields. We're just having conversations. So for the right fire extinguisher, like I could tell you, you need to check the expiration date because they do have them on it. But everything is almost on YouTube. Like watch a tutorial, what fire extinguishers you should have. I would say where you go to buy the fire extinguisher, like if you go to Home Depot, ask them what's the right fire extinguisher for the right place in your house. And if they don't know, then you don't know. But there are information out there, and it's up to us to do our due diligence to make sure we have the right information.
That's right. And talking about emergency for family preparedness plan, what comes to your mind? What are some of those things that families need to prepare when it has to do with emergency? Let's say emergency erupting your home. How should family? What are those essential components or things that family need to ensure that they plan for that ahead of time?
Can I wind back? I want to talk about one more thing, like we're talking about, inviting people to your home. I've talked about a first aid kit several times. Now you got to make sure you have, a good size enough. You inviting people to your home so you have it. We take that for granted. I know most of us don't even know where it is in our house. Like they have to call their husband or their wife, honey, where the first aid kit is. You want to make sure you know where that is and what's in it, and make sure that you're stocked up on what you need to have in it as well.
First aid kit.
First aid kit, I promise you're not gonna regret it. Like I couldn't even find a Band-Aid last year. That's why I'm always reminded to make sure my first aid kit is filled, because I couldn't even find a Band-Aid last year. You can imagine if something really happened and I really needed it, like someone got severely burnt and we were waiting for the ambulance to come or something like that, it would be bad.
Oh, well, and I think like they have the whole kit for sale online. Like you don't have to buy
it's
everything.
like
Amazon.
We're not talking about anything major here that you gotta go out and really dig it. Like it's just simple things that's gonna make or break a situation. Like whether you totally lose your patience or not, just little things that you could keep around or be prepared for.
And also your preparedness plan, and which includes having your necessities or important documents, like we spoke the other day, like having important documents saved in one place, like probably in a plastic container that is not easily, maybe if there's water emergency or something that is not going to get work or get spoiled. So like you want to know where can we get this whole emergency packet from, like in case of emergency we have to run. I don't know if I'm around with it.
No,
but
you're
like
saying the right thing. You're talking about the document emergency kits.
Right.
They start from $10 all the way up to like $300. So I was looking into one recently on Amazon, and you guys can look it up now. They have the one that's fireproof, then they have the waterproof one is $10. So all it prevents is water damage, right? And your documents stay dry. And then there's the fireproof one, and then there's the earthquake one that even if stuff really fall on it and stuff, it's safe. So, and then there's the ones that have all the space for the right documents. And the one I'm talking about for $10 is just water. It's just a box that you put documents in. So depending on your budget, you get the right one for yourself, right? So again, we're not experts, so I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't buy. I could recommend, and you go look up the information for yourself, and you're going to know what you need for your family. I know that there's a lot of people in Florida right now that wish they had one of those boxes.
Right.
Especially when it comes to homeowners insurance that they're giving them the runaround for right now. And you can't find your policy because your whole house is a disaster. And they're asking you, did you really have this policy? Did you really have flood attached to your policy? I know there's a lot of people right now wish they had that in a box that they could just whip out and say, hey, this is what I have. Or they kept all the information in an online capsule because we have that technology now. But again, I know there's a lot of people down there wish right now they had that box.
Yeah. So that box is a necessity in your preparedness kit where in case of emergency, because during emergency, people definitely be confused. Like everybody's like, oh, what's going on? Like on edge. And then you might forget. Like if you don't have everything in one place, you definitely might forget and just run out, or you might not know where to find it, even though you don't forget or you have not forgotten, but you might not know where to get it at that point. But if you have everything packed and ready to go in case of emergency, you can just grab it. And if everybody in the house or within a home know exactly where to get that emergency kit from, somebody can just, okay, I got this, that's how we're gonna get out. I can get this because we know exactly what it is or where it is.
And like you said last week, you gotta have a conversation with your family, knowing who's doing what at what time. Like you don't want to be confused because you don't want to get outside later and everybody go, oh, I thought you had it. I thought you had it. Like you know who's designated to grab that in case of an emergency. And it's one of those things where again we talk about it over and over and over. So it's second nature when it does happen. And like I said, I looked into one recently just because I was hearing a lot of stories with insurance companies in Florida denying claims and different things and telling people what policy they had because they could always pay you later. There's no extra. But if you never find it, they never have to pay you. So I was like, you know what? Let me get one because you never know.
Mm-hmm. You really never know. And then again, review your insurance policy. Like, know what's in there.
Insurance.
So every season will kind of remind you, right, to make sure that especially if your policy, let's say if you're a homeowner, your policy is separate from your mortgage. You want to make sure that you can keep your toes on that.
And don't forget to add things to your policy. Like, for example, you just bought a new couch, but you forgot to add that into your insurance. You know what I mean? Like, and keep the documents because we throw away receipts. Get renter's insurance. It's not just for homeowners. Renter's insurance is pretty inexpensive. Like I went online, there's a policy for $14. $14 that covers up to $10,000 in damage.
Yeah, it's not even that expensive. Like if you calculate for a whole year, depending on the insurance you get, sometimes you pay something not more than $200 for a whole year.
See? So yeah, let's get it together because again, you're not gonna need it until you need it. And when you need it, you really need it.
So what about also I know we're talking about preparing your homes, preparing for this, preparing for that. What about preparing for your mind and your body?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, because it all comes into together because if we are not mentally ready, sometimes they transition, and that's why probably you see some people who may, I don't know if I was put it right, but to say whose immune system are not that strong. You see them when each time they leave from summer to fall and winter, they get sick.
Right.
And then when people will say, every fall or every winter, I gotta get sick first. And then I don't know if you heard that, but sometimes you got someone is down with cold or flu. They say, oh yeah, every year this thing can happen to me. It's important that, we prepare ourselves to that. Now, One of the things maybe I would say on that to even start that conversation is you got to monitor what your body can take in, or not taking. For example, monitoring what the food stuff you eat during those periods, right? If you think, that, and that goes even normally with even at the normal time. Sometimes you eat certain food, that it made you upset or it makes you upset. You don't want to, you want to take note of it. And
What do
sometimes
you
it's
mean
not
by
of it.
foods that makes us upset?
Yeah. And I tell you that for a fact. I never knew that I'm allergic to ibuprofen.
So
For
what?
ibuprofen.
What's that? Ibuprofen.
Yeah, ibuprofen, excuse me. Ibuprofen,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Like, that's a
Yeah,
fruit.
no, you call it right. Okay. So I never knew I'm allergic to it. And not until 3 years ago before I discovered. Yes. So each time I got body pain, I would take it. And when I take it, then I would see bumps all on me. I would scratch my face and so forth, right? So, like, I didn't know. And then my wife and I started monitoring until, like, she said, "You don't think you're allergic to ibuprofen?" And then, like, okay, so I stopped. When I stopped it, then I realized I was okay. Then I said, "Okay, I'm going to prove it." So I went back intentionally and took the medication again. And then before I look, all my face will be swelling up and then it will be itching. Now I
Wow.
know that I'm allergic to it. So people need to watch that, right? You need to watch. So even with this medication, sometimes you're taking it and you're not getting well and things is even getting better. You need to check whether you are allergic to that particular treatment. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
something you want to quickly talk to your primary care provider. And that's what I did, like reaching out to my primary care. I say, "Hey, I took the ibuprofen and this is what happened to me." I say, "It looks like I'm allergic." Then he said, "What happens to you when you take it?" Then I describe. So now I know I can't take it.
there you go.
You
So
see,
you have to know yourself and watch
you
and
have to know yourself. If you eat
Yeah.
food today and you know that food did not do you well, next time you want to maybe stop it yet and see whether your body will respond better. If it did, go back to experiment and go take some again. I'm not advising you to do the way I did, right? But I wanted to confirm that indeed ibuprofen is allergic to it, right? But so I went back when I stopped it, my skin, everything was normal. When I took it, then I started scratching all my face again. Then I knew that something was wrong with it. So that's it.
And I mean,
guys.
some allergic reaction can be mild. Like for what he's saying, he was able to notice it because of what was happening to him to a certain extent. But what if it was just a mild itching? Like he was getting a reaction from outside because it had already occurred from the inside.
Mm.
Well,
So
I
if
think maybe he was scratching a little less because his body probably was getting used to it. But when he stopped completely and then started taking it again, it's a bigger reaction because his body hasn't had it for a while. So,
yeah,
as he said, he broke out way more when he stopped taking it and then started taking it back again. Guys, it's 7:30. Let's take
And
a break.
before we go, I want to finish on that, and because this is very
Yes,
important for our
it is very
community.
important.
Very important for our community because these are common medication we take, some without going to the doctor at all. Say, "Give me ibuprofen." Ibuprofen will say, "Give me ibuprofen." Or you just go and grab it because we commonly know it's a painkiller, right?
For us, we said to give me some Tylenol because well, I could give you the history, but in the Caribbean we call everything by the prominent brand. We call that thing that. So we go like, let me get some Tylenol or Panadol or whatever, not knowing that you're so severely allergic to it. Like there are some people allergic to penicillin, which is incredibly common and is used to treat so many things. And if you don't know you're allergic to that, because the first thing when you go to the emergency room, they give you when you're having an infection or something like that is penicillin. So it's important to kind of know what you're allergic to. And if you have insurance, you can actually take a broad span allergy test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that for my son, a broad span allergy test. I think it cost us like $85 with his insurance. and it was worth it to see if he's allergic to any of those type of things. I think they test over 150 things. So you might want to look into that. Ask your healthcare provider.
Yeah, that's something that maybe we want to educate our people, since you have idea on it. I have not done allergic tests, so to admit here. So since you have idea, they want to talk educate, because this
yeah,
is
you want to talk to your provider. Definitely, that's not something I want to advise anybody on. It was just that my son, since he's been born, he's been having little bumps on his skin, and everybody was saying, okay, that's normal for babies, but he got to 1 year old and still having it. So that's what triggered me to say, hey, we gotta really do something about this. And then we recommended the dermatologist, did nothing happen, and then an allergy test. So until that, I didn't know that we could do that, and then I had one done for myself as well. So that's what triggered that. But I commonly known, like, I don't think any of us just go in and say, hey, I want to get an allergy test.
Right. That brings me to what I was trying to say, right? So like there you might be allergic to something and don't like see the reaction out visibly, but it might be happening inside. Like what I was saying, where he saw the reaction because he got it from the outside.
He got physical symptoms.
Right. And sometimes the reaction might be mild. It might not be as severe to the point where you will notice and say, oh yeah, I'm actually allergic because of what I'm feeling. It might be something small.
Something as simple as excess gas and you're allergic. It may not be, like you're saying, it may not manifest itself on the skin, but it will, something's happening to your body and you may not really know to the extent it's happening.
Right. And if you don't pay attention, or you just downplay and just feel that it's nothing, and then you might get to the point where you might consistently do that thing, maybe take that medication or eat that food, and then at some point you might end up being hospitalized.
Right, because it's building in your system, right?
Right. Okay.
So with that, we're gonna take a break. This is community engagement. We'd like to thank our sponsors tonight, the Philadelphia Department of Health. I am Storm Wilson. We are here with Pastor Danielle and Miss Kebe. Again, this is community engagement, where we talk about awareness, preparation, and just sometimes just good stories. So we're going to take our break now. We'll be back in 5.
All my days seems like they have been wasted, eh? Bueno, just goes on to show. Till I'm laid to rest, yes, always be depressed. There's no life in the West. I know the East is the best. All the propaganda them spread, tongues will have to confess. Oh, I'm in bondage, living is a mess, and I've got to rise up, alleviate the stress. No longer will I expose my weakness. Ego seek knowledge begins with humbleness. Work 7 to 7, yet me still penniless. For the food up on me table, master God bless. All of the needy and shelterless. Ethiopia await all prince and princess. Till I'm laid to rest, yes, always be depressed. There's no life in the West. I know the East is the best. Yes, propaganda then spread, tongues will have to confess. What could a man about the East? Everybody want a peace. Africa free Africans, man, cause Messiah speak. Unification now, come defeat. What are they when we walking down Redemption Street? Ban up our head, Vybe in a hand, one and all. Make we try the promised land. Would you go down the Congo, stop in a Shashamane land? The city of Ferraris where Selassie come from. In Addis Ababa, then Botswana. Left Kenya, I end up in a Ghana. Oh, what a beauty my eyesight behold. Holy Ethiopia, protect me from the cold. Till I'm laid to rest, yes, always be depressed. There's no life in the West. I know the East is the best. All the propaganda then spread, tongues will have to confess. Organize and centralize, come as one. Over it shall be so many more than sand. Some new one replenish, pure and clean, and for too long we've been under this ban. Some a camel to enter through an eagle line. Than it is for a rich guy to enter in a Zion. Take it from Iman. So till I'm late to rest. Yes, always be the breast. There's no living in the West. I know the East is the best. Lord, propaganda them spread. Tongues will have to confess. Oh,
Welcome back, welcome back. This is Island Vibes, the Caribbean radio station. I'm on with Miss Kebe and Pastor Daniel. I'm your host, Tom Wilson. This is community engagement. We would love to thank our sponsors, which is the Philadelphia Department of Health. We are going to get into, we were talking previously about, mental situations. Pastor Daniel shared with us that he was allergic to ibuprofen for the longest time or not. No. I don't know of anything I'm allergic to, but I could tell you there are some foods, like I've noticed that if I eat a lot of bread, my sleep is not good that night. Like definitely not. So I haven't really eat too much bread now for like a year and a half.
Bread?
Sometimes bread, like anything bready. Like, well, we grew up eating a sandwich. Like our dinner is not heavy food in the Caribbean, and you eat a sandwich and you have like a cup of tea or a cup of chocolate, as you guys call it here. That would be our dinner. So we ate bread a lot. So we eat bread in the morning and bread in the evening. We grew up on that. And then you eat food for lunch or late afternoon. But I've noticed I've like bread. Anytime I've had bread too much or pastas, I don't sleep well. Like it's very uncomfortable. So like for a year and a half, bread every now and then, but I don't really eat bread. A friend of mine was telling me I should go in and get my glucose checked to see if I have is it a glucose intolerance? Not glucose. Is it glucose? Well, I have an intolerance for something. So I'm gonna get that checked. But any foods for you, Miss Kabe?
Huh. What? Literally, I don't know. I don't know. The only thing that I know that I eat and I get a little tingling feeling on my tongue is pineapples. But like I
The
just get that.
enzymes.
Yes, apparently, but there's no food that I know that I've eaten and had like a allergic reaction that I know of.
Right. I don't think it's an allergic reaction for me. I don't know. It's just like my body isn't processing it well. I don't think it's an allergic reaction. I think it's just like you get that heavy feeling like I'm a little foggy in the morning when I wake up. It's not a good night. And I've tested it a couple of times. So I know I don't eat that much bread anymore, but it's just bread because everybody was like, oh, it's carbs. No, I eat pasta. It's just breads. And I don't even know why.
Well, the thing about that is it just varies from person to person. And here is something I have discovered and I can share with the public here. Just like animals. I know all of us are animals, but I'm talking about animals that we know they're animals, right? Like lions, elephant, all of those stuff. We see lions love to eat what? Meat. Elephant, as big as it is, it feeds on what? Grass. And so for other animals, and they are all animals, but some live on meat, some live on grass, some live on both. That's how probably I see human beings too. And that's why I see, like, say for example, if you are diabetic, your food system change, right? It means, probably you belong to the elephant group that does not eat that much meat or what have you, right? Maybe you can eat, but I'm just saying something like that. You want to live on grass, right? Leaves to keep you better. And there are some folks that got some medical condition that don't eat certain food. It means they belong to one category. Right? So we got to study ourselves in that like manner. You got to identify where do I belong to? Am I in the lion category or in the elephant category? Or am I in the cat category? Right? Cat can eat both meat and maybe grass. right? So whatever category you belong, you have to study that. Like before we went for the break, we were talking about that, how your body and all of that. So because we want to try to avoid the health hazards, and part of that avoiding health hazards is to first to understand your body. And if you don't know it, that's why you begin to work. Sometimes, you know, it takes a long time to make you to understand it. Like I mentioned in my own case about ibuprofen, you know, but you need sometimes it takes a longer time for you to even identify yourself. But when you get this kind of knowledge, you begin to observe yourself now. If you ate, for example,
Mm.
some people like in our community, one of the food that we eat that everybody love, you go to party or rice bread. Is it cornbread or rice bread? Right?
What?
Raspberry.
Rice bread, right? So you eat it sometimes what happens? Your heart start like, you know,
What
maybe
is it?
it has some
Rice
acid
bread?
in it and start burning you. It's
Ye-
called, you
Rice bread.
rice bread. You
You
make
know how
enough
you make bread
flour.
all of flour? Like,
Yeah.
so this one is like how you have cream of wheat. They have, so the rice is made almost like cream of wheat, and then you can bake it. You also kind of mix it with
Yeah,
flour before you bake it
you
with
bake it in the
So it's
oven.
made
and
from
banana.
rice flour and not like wheat flour.
No, it's not even pure flour. It looks almost like cream of, you know how cream of wheat looks?
Yes.
So, cream of wheat. I keep saying cream of wheat. Sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah, so the rice kind of looks almost like that. It has to be almost in that state. I know they do have cream of rice. So yeah, that can also be made used to make the rice bread, but it's kind of mixed with
Oh,
banana.
okay.
Yeah,
I've never eaten it. I don't even know what it is.
it is.
Yeah, so there are some food that you eat
Mm-hmm.
that the acid may begin to burn your chest and so forth. And but we love to eat it in our community, right? We love to eat it, and but we still even stop it. And somebody says, "Oh, I love it," but sometimes those things, it affect you, and especially you go on a party, you grab donuts, you grab this, you put all the flowers together, you
Mm,
know, and on top of it, you say, so you gotta wash all these things.
Yeah, and eat it in moderation.
Eat
I
there
know what you're
for
talking about. Beef pies in Trinidad, we have those little beef pies. And I love them, but they do give me indigestion. So sometimes before you eat it, you go, is it worth it? But as long as you
mm,
know you're making that decision, like Pastor said, you have to learn your body and know what's going on. Like I know that happens with me with bread, but every now and then I get a sandwich, right? So you gotta learn your body and you understand what's going on and everything within moderation, I would say, and know how you're treating yourself. And like Ms. Cabby said earlier, we also have to lean in our mental health. Like that's physical stuff, right? But we really got to take care of our mental health so that we could continue to take care of everybody else in our lives.
right. True. So I was thinking, like, since we're talking about the body now, and we're already in fall, so I was gonna say, how can we prepare for fall? But we already is, but how can we stay like kind of prepare bodies for fall? Like like we said earlier, like Pastor was saying, the season comes and then some people be like, oh, every fall I get sick. But how can we like prepare our body, make sure that we're okay during this season? Like there are things that we could
I
do.
think the first thing to do is to really prepare your mind to
Mhm.
embrace the season. Embrace it to understand that you're going to be experiencing someday cool, someday hot.
Mhm.
And so sometimes people, it comes with that excitement or anxiety where, oh man, today is going to be cold, or you forgot to even take a jacket out, and that kind of thing affect you. So you want to embrace the season, but also preparing yourself, because this is how the culture is built. This is how the environment is, especially us from the immigrant community who have not been used to those kind of things. You want to make sure that you are fully prepared to this.
Yeah, it's for the hot and the cold, right? Like for example, I wear layers because I'm always hot or cold. And I know some people, oh, I run hot, so they always feel cool. And then some people, always feel warm. I am in between. So I wear layers. So I can take off a jacket or take off a shirt or take off something and, cool down and put back that want to warm up. So maybe that's a way to prep for that. And like you said, mentally we have to prep for it because I don't think I've made up my mind. It's winter yet. The weather reminds me.
The other day when it got so cold,
but
I was like, what? Are we in winter? I think it was like 40 degrees. I was like,
But
what?
I work from home mostly, so I can get away with pretending it's
Okay.
not autumn yet. I think so my cousin called me, she was like, I'm out in this weather and it's chilly, and I'm like, I don't know. So I haven't embraced it, so I definitely have to embrace it because I think this is a season for you to fully clean your house out because once you lock down for the winter, it's hard to open up all those windows, to get the fresh air and stuff like that. We definitely need to be dealing with, cleaning out filters, cleaning out anything that we need to do. We just came out of summer where we used our AC. How much of us really clean the filters?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just I could like your body, like we always say, like take your vitamins, vitamin D, which helps with strengthening your bones and all of those things. Because in fall, like if some people, if you don't clean your leaves, people are gonna fall, people are gonna start tripping. Winter's coming, if it's gonna start snowing, that black ice or whatever you call, people are gonna fall. So like strengthening your bones, taking your vitamin D's, that's gonna make you strong, make your bones strong. And also even exercising, you could just go for a walk or jog. If you can go to the gym, that's fine. If you can run behind your kids, if that's a form of exercising, that's fine. Just practicing self-care and also drinking water. I know for me personally, it's so easy for me to drink a lot of water during the summer because it's hot. But then when the temperature drops, like I don't find myself having the quench to like want to want to like just want to drink water. You get
So
what I'm
you
saying?
need to, so now we need to do it out of habit and not just thirst. So, but
Right.
you're right about the vitamin D. Vitamin D we get from the sun, right? And in the autumn, it's a lot less sunlight. So we should be increasing our daily take of vitamin D because we're not getting it from our natural source anymore. And it's now that we need it, like you said, with falls and all that. I don't think people know, but you really can't absorb that much calcium if you're not taking it with vitamin D. And there's so much we really, 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 I think this is a season, like you said, transition of people always get sick during the transitions of seasons. And now is a good time to book an appointment with your healthcare provider if you haven't seen them all year.
Yeah.
So right about that. We definitely gotta take care of our bodies. Juicing, like I've made up my mind. I made up my mind, like say, hey, if I drink any juice for the rest of the year, I have to have made it myself. Like I literally have to put it in a juicer. Other than that, I have to drink water. So that's the only health pledge I made to myself because usually I have a long list and I don't do any of them by the second week. So I said, one thing we gotta maintain this year, any juice I drink, any juice my son drinks, we made it. I put it through the blender so there's no added sugars and we're drinking a lot more water because I may not want to take out the whole juicer that day. So we'll drink a lot more water because of that. It's important to eat healthier in those seasons when we're not moving a lot. We're not outside getting food from here and there. It's easy, like you said, to get into a slump during those times.
Yes, it is. And like you were saying, prioritizing our mental health, like creating a relaxing routine whether it's a bedtime routine or whatever, just to relax your mind.
Well, give us an example because I need it. Because I always say I'm going to carve all that time and then nothing happens. It's like, give us an example of what we should be doing.
I mean, it could be like, okay, I'm gonna be in bed, but X, Y, and Z time, probably by 9 o'clock. I'm just gonna lay there, suddenly rewind, like think about my activities, like things that went on. What could I have done better? How could I have handled certain situations? What could I have avoided? Like, what can I do to improve? Are there things that I think that I'm doing right now that are not good to my health? Or how can I improve on them? Where am I slacking? Like just breathe. That's it. Over it is a smell the roses, just kind of relieve yourself of the stress. If If that's gonna cost you going in your closet to hide from the kids, like go there, close the door.
Hide. I am good with hiding. I think one of the things that we could easily do and try to put into our routine every day is to be grateful. Like Pastor said, mindset is important. Prepping your mind for an event is important. So prepping our mind for the day and just being grateful, because it's how we view things, right? If we are stressed about the day coming, like, oh my God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta fix that. It's very different than if you say, God, I'm so grateful to have another day. I'm grateful that I have these, trials so that because I'm still here. That's a different mindset to go into the day with. And sometimes that helps so much, we don't even know.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, so like
And also I would want to just add like getting your flu shots. Like this is the season. Get your flu shots.
get your flu shots.
Yeah, we talk about that more last week. Of course, people need to make sure that they get their vaccination updated. But as we try to wrap up today, what are some of the emergency evacuation plan that families need to put in place? Particularly, why is that so important for every household, every family to have an emergency evacuation plan?
Well, I'm going to answer. You said, why is it important? It's extremely important to cut down on stress, to know what you're going to do next in case of emergency. So that's your question. So why should we have one? How important it is, super important. And another one is what we could put in place. I would say something that we don't talk about often, get an alternative exit. Like most houses have two exits and everybody try to run to the front door if that's the door they're accustomed going in and out of. In case that door is blocked, what's the alternative? In case the back door is blocked, what's the alternative? Can we go through the window? Is there a ladder in the back there? Like just having that might save somebody life upstairs that don't have it. You know what I mean? An exit that way.
That's true. So like first creating or building the emergency evacuation plan should be done as a team or a family so that way everybody knows exactly what the plan is. Talking about it. And another thing that came to mind is when you were talking about homes people homes having two exits and everybody used to using one door, whether it's the front door that everybody just used to using. And one thing that struck me is keys. Like some people homes, like you know exactly where to get the keys from. Some people don't have that. Like you will see somebody be like, I'm looking for the key. Where's the front door key? Where can I get the house key from? Like, or where did I put it? It was right here. So you want to make sure that you have specific places or specific place where you can keep those keys. And if the back door, for example, is not a door that is usually used in a home, what key open the back door? That's something that you want people to know. So in case of emergency, if John grabs the key, he knows exactly. It's gonna take him less time to know which key to open that door for everybody to get out. Because maybe Peter, who has an idea, by that being a resident man, he might be confused and terrified. So, back to the topic, like having an evacuation plan, knowing what it is, where to go, who are your emergency contacts to contact in case of this emergency when you get out, where are we going to meet, where are we going to stay?
You use a key to get out of your back door?
Well, mainly what that would be important is if you were outside, we know that those majority of the doors here, they got inside lock, right? That you just turn. But let's say
you need to get in a hurry and you need a spare keys outside.
Need to get in a hurry and then you are out. I think that would be important for you to know.
Yeah, to know where the spare keys are.
Yes.
And for those of you like me who like technology, my door opens with my thumbprint. You need to know where your keys are just in case there's no batteries in that. Happened to me last week. I'm just mentioning.
technology, even technology sometimes fail, or something might happen.
You need
Something
to
might
know where
interrupt.
your key. So let's. I know we are talking about emergencies, but it may not be an emergency. Maybe your emergencies, you have to use the bathroom. Know where your key. Like if you're like me and your door opens that way, know where your key is. Something as simple as that. Because if we're having a blackout and your battery is not updated and you have that lock, in case of an emergency and you need to get back into your house, you need to know where that key is.
Yeah. And to add on the voices of you, what you all contributed, the family emergency evacuation plan is really important, particularly because it helps the family to know, in terms of emergency, it helps them to understand where they can all meet, how they can quickly leave the house, where can they assemble, but it also ensures their safety. Very important. If a disaster occur, it ensures their safety. And that's why it's important that families identify where they can evacuate and where they can assemble. It's important for them to understand that if something happened that will prompt everyone to leave, then they must know exactly internally. Every member of the family must be aware about those little things to say, hey, if something happened, the first place of where we need to go is this place, right? And then also taking care of the little cosmetic, for example, don't bother about taking anything. Let's get out, let's monitor the situation before anyone, will know who can go to take what. Because sometimes we want to take this, we want to take that, we want to take that. In the interim of that, we find out that a lot of people have fallen into a chaotic situation. Some
Yeah.
are injured and so forth. So you want to make sure you save your life first. What you can always get those things once you have the life.
That is very, very true. And know where you're going. Like you may want to just say, hey, we're getting ready to go, but know where you're going. Because it's very, sometimes in a natural disaster, they tell you don't leave your house. So you need to have that information before you decide what you're going to do, even with having a plan already in place.
That's right. That's right. And also it's important that we can have we understand the difference between weather watches and then also warning signs of the adversary. So as we look forward to a huge change in the next, we are already in that change. The fall and the winter will begin to experience the winter and the fall. In that change, you'll begin to see a lot of things. So you need to understand, you know, watching in the morning, at least if you got smartphone, so the weather situation. Is it going to rain? Is it going to snow? How the field will look like. All those things are part of what will keep us going active. You don't want to be reactive to everything, but you want to you want to become proactive. And the reason why we come here every Monday nights to come and have this conversation with the community is to kind of remind us of some of those basic things. Not like you don't know it, but because sometimes those little things you can forget it. And then so those kind of things come as a reminder. And that's why we want to take the opportunity to thank all of you who always are with us on this talk show, having this conversation on air and being aired on different platforms. And we cannot thank enough our sponsor for the Denver Department of Public Health. I want to thank them for their support. And of course, Ms. Tom, for every night we come here every Monday's night, coming here to commit our time, leaving everything to share this vital information is incredible. And personally to Kebe, doing an incredible job, all the sacrifices, we want to thank you. I personally want to thank all of you for that. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Get prepared, get yourself ready. Don't be ignorant. Look for the information because you see, knowledge is power, and that's why we come here to share this knowledge to every one of us.
And guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for hanging with us for the last hour or so. We'll be back here next Monday at 7 p.m. If there's any topics you want us to talk about, please send us a message. If there's anything we've spoken about today that you want to comment on or elaborate further, send us a message. We welcome it. My name is Tom Wilson, Pastor Daniel. Ms. Tebbit, do you have any final words?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you to everyone who's tuning and to those who will watch later. We say thanks for your time and we appreciate you.
And I really I was watching the comments, right? Reading the comment last week. People really doing incredible job giving feedback on, on that. I forgot to give the shout out to some of those people. But listen, drop your comment. Next week I want to commit. If I forget, let's kind of remind each other.
I'll try to remind you guys.
We can
Let's
give a shout
read
out
some
to
other comments.
to our community members who are contributing to this show, and then we can recognize them on the show when we come back next to air the, So leave your questions, leave your comment, and give your feedback. When we return Monday, probably that's where we're going to start to give a shout out to some of you who are making meaningful contribution to this and making this program a success.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.